Welcome everybody to What's Up Bolts. I'm Fernando Ramirez. That sunglass don and hat wearing son of a gun is Dan and Daygo. He he's gonna power through. I think he's starting to lose his voice a little bit. Maybe it's his coaching voice, but he's lost it a little bit. But Dan, Chargers win 6-0 over New England. No, that's the truth. 6-0 over New England to improve to 5-7. Dan, initial takeaways?
It was kind of what we expected. As soon as you mentioned the rain, I thought I didn't think offensively they were going to be able to do much today besides the rain, just because Bill Belichick just really knows how to put you into hard spots. The rain just added to it, and the offense, in my mind, has not looked good the past couple weeks. It's been very inconsistent where it's like either the defense does relatively well and the offense is stinking, or it's vice versa. So, initial thoughts, absolute dumpster fire, what you'd expect from a 4-7 team taking on a 2-8 team. So there's nothing really to say about it, really, just that they did enough to win today. So,
Well, I mean, obviously, I think the two MVPs of this game, or there's three: Cameron Dicker,
yeah. The holder
Darius,
and
Darius Davis, and
yeah,
J.K. Scott. I
100%.
I thought those guys were really on it. I mean, if you really look at it, New England punted, or the Chargers punted one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and I think all of them were inside of, well, except for the last one, because obviously the last one, the Chargers kind of punted out of their own. Oh, no, my bad. They were all with inside the 20-yard line of the Patriots. So just a really good job by J.K. Scott, and then obviously the Darius Davis, that set up a field goal. I mean, the Patriots punted it 57 yards, Behringer, and Darius Davis returned it 34 yards to the New England 27-yard line. The Chargers offense just was abysmal today. But on that next play, it was the Chargers they went 3 and out, but Cameron Dicker came in and kicked the 38-yard field goal. That put them up 6-0. Then in the second half, it was just punts, downs, nothing really impressive. But Dan, like you said, it was just an ugly, ugly game. And
And
nothing,
offensively,
yeah.
instead of this trying to be a game where you put it together against a team who's relatively, I guess you can say the mathematics, but relatively out of the hunt, put something together offensively. But they were also sloppy on offense. Like they couldn't get a run game going. And I think really that was a huge equalizer here because in the rain, obviously, it's a lot harder to throw and catch the ball and everything else. Then you had a lot of drops today, especially, well, maybe not a lot. I think it was around like 2 or 3 that I can remember right now. But, at crucial points in the game on third downs or anything else, trying to keep drives alive and getting first downs. And it's just not looking good. So I don't know moving forward what they're going to do. They play Denver next week, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that defense is going to be tough too. So I don't know. Just based off of today, we might expect something similar next week. So just no consistency on offense again. The one positive I would say for now a little bit, I felt like Herbert wasn't getting beaten up today in the passing game at least a little bit more. So that was at least one positive we can take away from this one.
Speaking of J.K. Scott, he had 8 punts for 367 yards.
Wow. Yeah.
He he outgained the Chargers. The Chargers offense had 241 yards, and he had 367. 7 of them, sorry, were in the 20, inside the 20. That's just really impressive by him. Darius
Yeah.
Davis, 3 returns for 55 yards. Dan, it just seems like Darius Davis, anytime he touches the ball as a punt returner, he at least gets 10
Oh
yards or
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty impressive. And then obviously Cameron Dicker has just been he's been really good this year when it comes to kicking. I mean, knock on wood and everything, but I feel like the Chargers have kind of found their kicker after years of kind of
Search
struggling
the
through
search, yeah.
yeah, through mishaps and everything, and it seems like the Chargers really have a three-headed combo. I know everybody's like, "What special teams? We're going to talk about special teams." Well, yeah, that's
That was the
literally what this
game.
game. Yeah,
The game was all field position. The
exactly.
reason why the Patriots weren't able to put more up there is because for the most part, J.K. Scott made him go the length of the field because he was putting so well today. So it was a game of field position 100%.
And not just that, Dan, but I mean, if you really look at it, there were a couple of drives where the Patriots could have taken advantage, but the Chargers defense at one point really took it to them. In the second half, in the first half, Bailey Zappe did not get brought down. The only turnover in the game was a fumble by Stevenson, where
Yeah.
Tui Pelotu made him fumble and he recovered the fumble. Chargers weren't able to do anything with the ball there. They went 3 and out,
Kicked
and
the
he
field
got
goal though,
injured.
right?
That I think, yeah, no, they that was not a field goal. That was just
Oh, they punted.
they
Oh,
punted.
okay.
But that Stevenson injury, Dan, in my opinion, I think that's what really changed this
Oh
game,
yeah.
because he at the beginning, I mean, he had where is he? He had 9 carries for 39 yards. He was averaging 43 or 4.3 yards a carry. And I felt like when he got injured, it was kind of like, oh, okay. They went to Ezekiel Elliott, who didn't have, I mean, a bad
Yeah.
performance. I mean, 17 carries, 52 yards. I thought he was very effective at times. I thought the really impressive thing about him was that he was patient, and then he'd hit a hole, or he was so big that he just bounced
Yeah.
off of guys.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty impressive in on that end. But the Chargers defense in the second half, I know they've caught some flack as of late, but in the second half, 5 sacks of Billy Zappi. I thought the really impressive one was right here at the end of the game. So the Patriots, it was their second to last possession. Zappi hits Ezekiel Elliott, then Thornton goes on that end around for 39 yards, and Derwin James saved a touchdown right there, because it looked like Thornton was basically gone. Then he had to kind of he had to cut it back in, and Derwin was able to catch up to him and stop him. But on 2nd and 9, he hits Hunter Henry for 6 yards. It's 3rd and 3. He gets sacked by Eric Kendricks, and then it's 4th and 5, and Derwin shoots through and sacks him,
Yep.
and it was a turnover on downs,
Yep.
which I thought was very impressive. The drive before that, they had Khalil Mack sacked him on 2nd and 5 on the New England 48-yard line. So that was really impressive. By the way, Khalil Mack now has matched his season high of 15 sacks, and he's only half a sack away from 100 in his career, which is just very impressive. On the other side, Keenan Allen gets 100 catches for the year. He has 5 seasons of 100 catches or more, and he's only 1 season away from tying Brandon Marshall and Antonio Brown for they had 6. So that is just very impressive in and of itself. So just an impressive day. It's been an impressive season, I think, in my opinion, from Khalil Mack
100%. 100
and
and Keenan. Yep.
from Keenan. But I mean, obviously, Khalil kind of showed his frustration this week when he said that doesn't give an s about
Personal
personal
accomplishments.
accolades. What he cares is about winning, and they're just not doing it. Which, I mean, I know they won on Sunday, but that doesn't change anything. I mean, it's still a huge uphill battle to try and be able
To
to
get to the
get in the
playoffs. Yep.
playoffs or anything.
Yep.
But yeah, Dan. I mean, it was. I thought the defense. I mean, the thing is also you have to take into account the rain and everything else. I mean, that I thought that affected a lot of what happened in this game. The rain and all that. So just I thought that really factored into this. But I honestly thought, Dan. I mean, he was what 22 at 37, 212. But I thought Herbert really spread the ball around. I know we had a drive where Quentin Johnston kind of got going a little bit, and then he had
Yeah.
that big drop on 3rd down. And but it was so funny because the whole game, at the end of the game, I remember we were watching the game, and Dan goes, "Don't f this up," and he drops back and he hits Erickson for
Yeah.
a 23-yard catch to ice the game, and I was like, wow, like I thought they were just gonna run the football, give it back to New England, and see what they could do. But when they decided they decided to go for it, and Herbert hit Erickson, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's been 2 weeks in a row of impressive plays by Erickson. I know he had one last week. I just can't remember in what way, but it was also one of those plays that kind of helped the offense out.
In the clutch, yeah.
So definitely very impressive from these guys. But what did you think, Dan?
Just one thing I'd like to highlight too. I think the commentators made an excellent point about this. The most important play Khalil Mack made was on that fourth down when they gave the ball back to essentially the Chargers to ice the game, because Hunter Henry was open on that dig route, but
Yeah.
his pressure and forcing him to move from his spot in the pocket, that made all the difference in what's it called, in that play being completed. And obviously it wasn't, but that's what it's kind of been all season, right? Like as soon as the pass rush gets going, that's when this defense starts to play a lot better. And it's just been inconsistent the whole year of when that happens, really. And it's like you see in the games, last week they sack and they're getting pressure on Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. They hold him to 10 points most of the game, or 13 points most of the game. Obviously, they gave up that long tud, but it's just the whole season has, basically been just what's it called? Just further highlights the inconsistencies with these past two games, right? It's like you face the Ravens, who are fighting for a number one seed. You actually play well defensively, you game plan well, you scheme well, you hold them to 10 points, but then the offense can't get anything going. And that's been the biggest problem, where they just haven't been able to put all three phases together. And you saw that again today, where it's like, here's a team, it's 2-9. Obviously, or 2-8 or whatever it is. Obviously, Bill Belichick's on the other side. That's gonna present some problems. But I mean, you got to be able to figure it out. And I think this game really showed how the lack of run game really is going to be, I believe, the Achilles heel of this team further down the road, because you need to be able to run the football in the rain, because a lot of bad things can happen when you're trying to sling it, and everything's so slick out there and everything else. So just like we said, they did enough to win. Obviously, nothing, impressive or to write home about, but that's what they got to keep doing if they want to make a playoff push. They got to do enough to win. So we'll see what they do next week against
Austin
Denver.
Eckler and Joshua Kelly combined for 24 carries. Oh, and Justin Herbert, but that was at the end with the kneel downs. So if you take away, they had 20 carries for they had 20 carries for 24 yards.
Wow, 20 carries for 24 yards. That is very much not championship winning football right there.
Exactly.
And the other thing is too, I don't know, Everett was getting going, which was good, but you need to try and get these other guys involved, and not even from the standpoint of, from the standpoint of trying to spread the ball around, make yourself a little more even keeled. Because again, if you get into these games where they're must win, and it's basically the Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert show, I think it's going to be very tough, because defenses are for sure going to try and take that away, which I'm surprised they didn't, do a better job of taking that away, not doubling him a lot of the times and stuff like that was interesting to me, but it is what it is. So that's the only thing that you really need to figure out what they're going to do, because next week it's not going to be easy. Denver has not looked good all year, but you make it close enough and they'll make a game out of it. So
yeah, they had won 5 straight until losing to Houston. They'd beaten some good teams.
And they lost it in the final seconds, on the 5-yard line or whatever it is. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Denver's not going to be easy, especially it's a divisional game, so it counts as 2 games. So if you lose that one, that's going to be pretty bad right there.
Patriots have lost 3 straight games where they allowed 10 points or fewer. No team has done this since 1938.
Nice, dude.
That's crazy. But let's go now to Brandon Staley and let's hear what he had to say after the Chargers victory over the New England Patriots.
And we were really able to flip the field and get the momentum. That was a way that we were able to gain momentum in the game. He was fantastic.
What does it say about the job?
Yeah, Daniel, as you know, I mean, from the beginning, that's been a huge goal of ours is to improve that unit. When we got here, was among the worst in the NFL, and now we're among the best in the NFL. And I think these last 2 weeks playing against Baltimore and New England, they're two of the top special teams units perennially in the league. So Ryan and Chris have been awesome. And then we've invested a lot in the specialists and our core special teams guys. I think you've seen, our young guys that we drafted 3 years ago. They're all a big part of our core teams. And it was big for us today, and we needed it. And, Darius also gave us a huge lift in the return game. And he's been doing a great job with ball security and then flipping the field for us too. Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned him, because on a day like today, you need that leadership, you need that togetherness, on the punt team when you're out there a lot. Hey, this is going to be the unit, that can decide the game. And I felt like just that connection that those guys have on that punt team is really strong right now. We're protecting really well, we're covering well, we're punting well, and it's definitely a unit that's one of our strengths right now. Whatever that whatever that level is, probably the highest. 10 out of 10 is probably how I would explain it. Had a good week of practice, knew there was going to be a tough game. That's a good defensive group over there. Bill, Steve, that group, they do a great job coaching on defense. They've got a lot of good players on defense, and they play together well. So it was just a tough game. It was a defensive game, and our guys were able to make one play at the end to seal it, and that's what we needed to do on offense. We took care of the ball today. There was no turnovers, there were no sacks, and we made a big play there at the end to finish it for us. Yeah, I think Sam, just decompress, and you got to look at the game right away. I try to do it right away so that we can get moving to Denver. But I think from an after action standpoint, our team, I think, played one of its top games as a team on the road. I think we did what we had to do to win today, and that was a big goal of ours. There weren't going to be any style points today. I wasn't expecting it to be a high scoring affair. So I think what our guys did is they really locked in and focused on what type of game it was going to be. And it took that mindset all the way into the last play for us to be totally focused for an entire game, 60-minute game, and doing what it takes. And I told the team that that's what you have to do in the NFL. Sometimes the games are a track meet, 41-38. Sometimes, hey, there's a game like today, 6-0. You have to do what it takes to win. And I thought that was a good step for us. Did you guys have a feeling that Zappe would be the quarterback, and is preparing for him any different than preparing for him? I don't think anything coming out of there. No one really does. But we just knew that Mack and Bailey would be similar. I think he's, he moves a little bit better. So we were ready for the movement aspect of him. And then we were ready for Cunningham as well, just if he showed up in the game. So, I thought our defensive coaches did a really good job getting our guys ready to play today. Well, I mean, it was tough out there. I don't think that we didn't run the football well at all. And then in the passing game, far too many drops. I thought that Justin was accurate today. I thought that he, played exceptionally well today under the conditions. I thought his decision-making was good. He was strong with the ball, but just far too many drops today, and just not a clean enough game for us. But I think what we can build on are the no sacks and no turnovers. And as the previous 3 games, we lost the turnover margin. Today, we won it. And that's a big positive coming in a game has some elements.
Dan, I mean, Brandon Staley was right. I mean, there were too many drops. Donald Parham had one. I had two. Quentin Johnston had one. Like, there were some other drops. I think Austin Eckler had 1 or 2. So
that's right, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the passes were dropped. I thought Herbert, I mean, in the elements and with everything going on and the way they tried to take Keenan Allen away, I actually thought I agree with Brandon that they had I thought he had a pretty clean game. And then obviously like you said, he didn't take any hits, he wasn't sacked. I thought that was that's another thing. Like, that was an impressive game by Justin.
100%, because like Brandon Staley said right there, they lost the turnover margin. The past few weeks they've had, nasty turnovers with fumbles and stuff like that. Just, bonehead things, because as we all know, ball security is job security, right? But, today they were clean. And like you said, there's nothing more to say than they did what they needed to do to win. It was ugly on offense. You couldn't really, move the ball. You couldn't convert touchdowns, stuff like that. You had a hard time running the football, which again, that's gonna come to haunt them, I think, later in the year. But like you on that third down play, you heard me hold my breath because I'm like, good God, if they get this incomplete, they're gonna have some time left to work with on the way back. But they ended up getting it and icing it when it mattered. So I mean, that's all that matters, because in a game like this, you knew it was gonna be low scoring, physical. I just expected they were gonna run the football more, but they didn't. But
it was just not effective. That's the
yeah,
thing.
that's why. Yeah, they couldn't really get any push or movement going. Like,
I still saw some things from the defense that I didn't like. They gave up way too many plays. Well, they gave up some plays, but then also there was some potential for big plays. Like Thornton had a drop where he would have walked into the end zone, and then the one to Devontae Parker at the end, like you and I both said, that's PI.
Yeah,
on Dean Leonard, the one where he was out of, he came down with it, but he was out of bounds. Yeah. I honestly thought, I was like, okay, they're probably gonna call it, and then they're gonna say, okay, it wasn't a catch, but he still,
it was pass interference or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, and that's gonna happen in these type of games sometimes. Like Andres Guardado once said, sometimes football gives you, and sometimes it takes away. And today it gave them. So
yeah,
it is what it is on that one. They did what they needed to do to win.
No, and I completely agree. I just thought that like the 100%. defense didn't have that game. Perfect. Yeah. The only clean game, or the only side that had a clean game, was the special teams. And you heard what Brandon said there about, and it is true. It is true that ever since he came in, he made it a focus, and now they're one of the best special teams unit in the NFL. I mean, right now we spoke about it, Dan. Like, how bad were they a couple of years ago on special teams? Like in 2020, it was terrible. Like Justin Herbert should have had 3 or 4 more game-winning drives, but I can't remember who the kicker was. Was it Badgley? No, I think it was Badgley.
Badgley,
yeah, he missed or was it Sturgis? I can't remember who the kicker was in 2020. Let me check right now.
It was Badgley. I thought that's where he made his name in the COVID year.
No, hell no. Oh well, I didn't think he was. Well,
no, I'm saying that's where he made his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where he brought a little more stability until everything really started coming out.
Yeah, it was Badgley. Yeah, Badgley missed a couple that season. I remember, like the one in New Orleans where Herbert hit Mike Williams down the field and all that. So, but does this change your mind about anything?
In what sense?
You know what I mean, just in general.
No, because again, this is my thing. Okay. And I've been saying this, I think, since what's it called? I think since last week with the Ravens. I can't remember if I said it further. Where is the hype behind Kellen Moore? I don't think he's figured this out yet, because these are the type of games where adjustments and schemes are so important, especially when you have guys in there who are not your starters. This is a time where you really show what you're worth. I would assume. Obviously, I've never been in the position, because you're trying to get these guys open and playing to their strong suits. I don't think we've seen that so far. Either they're bringing in the wrong personnel, signing these guys or whatever, or they're not doing enough to try and get these guys open. Because how is it that, Austin Eckler arguably over the past 2 years has had some of the best seasons a Charger running back has had since probably, maybe LT, or I don't know if Melvin Gordon ever had career years like that or not, but, Austin Eckler was arguably one of the best running backs in the league at the time. And now in his first year, he can't get anything going with him. And it's like, I don't know if it's the contract stuff that's really playing a factor.
The high ankle sprain.
The high ankle sprain. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, because how do you go from Dallas, where you have 2 running backs, and both Zeke and Elliott were very productive? They cut Zeke because of the contract and stuff like that. He essentially got Tony Pollard paid because of how well he was doing in his offense. And now you come here and just the run game is just non-existent. Is what Mike McCarthy was saying true, that he just wants to sling the football and try it? Maybe that's the problem. Mike McCarthy, if I remember right, said that he wants to sling the football and just look nice and win style points, stuff like that offensively.
And Mike McCarthy wanted to get to running the football.
Running the football and being more efficient. So maybe that is the problem, that he's trying to do too much razzle dazzle instead of just trying to do basic things. I don't know. I'm not in the room. But in my opinion, just like Brandon Staley deserves blame when the defense does performs poorly, I think Kellen Moore deserves a lot of the blame also when the offense does poorly. Because in my mind, again, they're missing Matthew Judon. Obviously, they have players. They have Bill Belichick, which that's going to, add a plus 10 to whatever they're going to do.
Matthew Judon did not play in this game, by the way. He's on IR, just putting it out there.
Yeah. That's what I said. He was missing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, this is where the adjustments need to start happening. Look at the damn tablet and figure something out. You know what I mean? Because you have to. You always have to coach on the fly and making adjustments, stuff like that. So I don't know really that's why, like, in my opinion, again, in my humble opinion, I'm not in the room. I don't know. I don't really understand how he's being considered for some of these head coaching vacancies, because I don't think he's done enough this season to really prove that, he's the next wonder kid and stuff like that. You would have taken him from Dallas last year and given him a head coach. I'd understand it a lot more than, a 5-7 team where the offense is Jekyll and Hyde week to week. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't have the scores in front of me, but how do you start off? And I think this says a lot. You start off scoring 40 points against Miami. You score, I think, another 40 against the Lions were a little bit. Hold on, let me look up these scores real quick. But essentially, how are you scoring 40-point games and then you go back down to scoring 20, scoring 6 today, which again, terrible in the conditions. And it's like, I don't think he's been able to figure it out yet consistently enough. And it's like I said, I think he deserves some of the blame. Like, against some of these more talented teams, let me see real quick. Talented teams where he scored a lot was obviously Miami. Against the Titans, they play solid defense, but 24 points and they lost. Minnesota 28, but they won. They haven't been too good. Then the Cowboys 17, when they play the Chiefs 17. Obviously the Jets, that was the Jets. Lions 38 points. Packers 20 points. Ravens 10 points. And today 6 points. I think either tape's out there and they're starting to scheme up better against them, or I don't know what it is, because – and I understand the injuries. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand the injuries. You don't have Mike. You don't have Josh Palmer. I think they're missing someone else on offense. Are they missing someone else on offense that I can't think of right now? Josh Palmer. No, I think those are the main ones. Josh Palmer and Mike Williams. But it's like, you have to be next man up, especially if you want to win championships and things like that. So that's just my opinion right there. I don't think they're talking about him enough on not being able to get this offense going. And I don't know if it's just kind of a thing where they want to shield him and throw arrows at the other, but
this is when Kellen Moore gets the Carolina Panthers job in a couple months, this is going to be him looking at Dan and Daygo.
Yeah, exactly. You're a dumbass. Hey, I'm just saying, dude. Like,
no, I know. No, and you're right. I mean, he deserves
not. It has not been consistent enough.
Just like Brandon Staley gets it, so should he, and everything. But yeah, and this is the thing. It was just such an ugly game, and I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens down the line. But like you said, that Denver game next week is going to be very tough. Then on a short week, you go to Vegas to go play the Raiders. That's going to be a tough game as well. And then you come back, and on the 23rd, you play the Buffalo Bills, and then you go to Denver, and then you end against Kansas City. Which, Dan, we've been saying it. We both think that Kansas City at that point is going to be playing for the first seed. Yeah, and they're gonna end up playing their
backups probably.
Yeah. So,
and it's like I said. I understand that there's injuries and there's drops and things like that, but at some point you've got to make it click with these players, dude. They got to be able to figure it out, because 6 points next week, I don't think is going to be enough. Even though Russell Wilson hasn't looked good or anything like that, because they have a good defense and they're tough and physical, and the Chargers always have a hard time playing the Broncos. So. And you know what? The other thing is too, I forgot to mention this. Sean Payton has this one circled, so he's really going to pull out all the stops. He really probably wants to beat the Chargers just because of all the rumors about last year and stuff like that. So
I completely agree. Obviously the Chargers are still, I mean, at 5-7,
mathematically alive, yeah.
And I know
the
that
other teams are like 6-6.
This is Dan and Daygo right now.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens moving forward. But as of right now, obviously, game balls, I think you'd have to give it to the 3 special teams.
100%. And you know what's the funniest part? Davis would have been gone if he would have just stayed on his feet.
Yeah,
he just kind of tripped up and fell down.
Yeah, but all right, for the time being, obviously, we'll see what happens. But as of right now, they win 6-0. They improved to 5-7. They're still in the playoff hunt, but like we said, there are some tough games coming up next weekend against the Denver Broncos. But for now, we're going to leave it here. Folks, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, be a compa, tell a compa. Monday, Gilbert and I will be jumping on the live. I'm sure Athir will be jumping on and commenting something. I know other people will be commenting. And yes, I'm going to give it to myself. I said after the Jets game that they wouldn't win another game. They did win one more, but we'll see how many they end up winning before the season's over. But it'll be interesting, but I guess we'll see. But again, thank you guys so much for jumping on and listening to us. For Dan and Daygo, I'm Fernando Ramirez. Thank you guys so much. And we will be back on Thursday with the preview. We'll see who we can get from Denver Media just to really get a sense of where the Denver Broncos are at. But thank you guys so much. Have a good one and have a good start to your week. Thank you guys so much.